folks, but assuming has put me in nefarious situations in the past. I'll give it a minute. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the bottom line. I'm Michael Noland, your humble tribe master, and welcome to Tribal Forum number 39. Tonight, we're going to be doing a couple of things. First of all, the whole stream is about Uriah Heep. And I can guarantee you one thing, folks. I've got enough here to keep you entertained, whether you know a whole lot about this band or not, or if you've been just curious. What are they all about, after all? That type of thing. I think a bit of your thirst will be quenched tonight. We're going to be getting in not only talking about the worthiness of this band and where they stand when you compare them to other heavy bands of the time period that they were out and at their most popular. All right. Um, like Led Zeppelin, of course. You've got Deep Purple and Black Sabbath as um, a lot of people call them the Holy Trinity of heavy rock for back in the day, right? And some of us have proposed that there was a fourth band out there that deserved mention. Not that it was, I forget which one of you out there actually brought up that you can't compare Uriah Heep to Sabbath, Purple, or Zeppelin. That's just ridiculous. They're not on the level. And that's not what I'm saying, although in many ways they are as a band in total. All right. So that's what we're going to be talking about. I did notice one of you, Tim Henry of Music Life, said something in the comments. You're all chit chatting there. Take care of a little bit of channel business, let people kind of dribble in, and then we'll all start kind of together. Right. And it won't take too long for me to go through this, but I thought I'd point this out. Tim Henry of Music Life says, and he's now currently ranked as number 2 on the XP points. Congratulations, brother. If you want an explanation as to what these number 1s and 2s and 3s mean, check out my last stream from last night. I'll probably retitle this one and that one part 1 for that one and part 2 for this one before we're over, right? We go into what these points are about and why I feel they're not inappropriate, because basically they're accomplishing what I've already been accomplishing on this channel right from the get-go, and that is shouting you out by giving you these badges. If you click on this badge, you'll notice it'll go to a leaderboard. Right now, there's 12 of you on that leaderboard. The top 3 right now are Tim himself, Divining Dragon, how you doing, Christian, and Brandon. And that could change during the course of the evening. What's nice about this is it resets every stream. Okay, so nobody's going to get 350,000 points ahead of you with your 125 points, and you'll never catch up, because it all starts over every stream. Every stream is a brand new game, baby. But I did want to bring up what Tim had to say here. He said, "Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Divining Dragon. I love the way you guys chit chat amongst yourselves. That's part of what I wanted to start here." He says, I hope I don't get into any trouble here. Never, Tim, never. But could all of you join my YouTube channel, Tim Henry of Music Life? I'm just starting it, and I would appreciate it. And Tim, I've been there. All right. I remember what it's like letting people know when you went to go pick up a stereo piece of equipment. By the way, I have a YouTube channel. You got a phone? Hey, just type in Michael Knows. I did all of that, brother. So I know what it's like to get started. And with some of the help of people who might be watching right now, I got a leg up, and I am more than happy to give you your leg up right now. I'm going to request everybody to get on over there and support Tim Henry of Music Life. I can't go over and click you right now because my account is on the device that's filming me. All right, but I'll get to you, Tim. When I review this, I'll go on over and I'll get my subscription there as well. So no problem here. You want to promote your channel, that's fine with me. I'm all for promoting brand new content creators. And by the way, welcome to YouTube. All right. So before we get started, like I said, we're going to take care of a little business. This will take just a minute. Won't even hurt, hardly nary a bit. Now, before I even got into the chat today, as you guys can tell, Ben Scheidecker came in with a $5 super thanks. It's right there in the chat. I want to thank Ben so much for that. And I'm going to be reading another one of his comments because he was the last to give us a $5 super thanks last night. And I kept my mouth rolling, folks, like I do, And I didn't get to his comment, but I'm going to read that right after I read the comment he's given here. I see that. Deuce is wild with, what do we have here? $10 super thanks. I'll get to you in a second here, Deuce. Thank you so much. Another contributor to the channel in so many ways. And I'm not talking about just giving super thanks. Remember, when I do this, folks, my number one concern is you, the viewer. Whether you give super thanks or thumbs up, I want to reach you. Without you, there's no reason for me to be me, right? And be on YouTube. So you are the first line of defense for this channel. Those who take the extra step and give me a thumbs up on my videos, if you do it right now, we've got 21. If we hit 50, that'll bump it up. And if we hit 50 while the stream is going, it'll hit more home feeds. People have a chance to join. The tribe will grow. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed to this thing we call the tribe, it's real easy. All you have to do is hit that subscribe to the tribe button, tap that top bell icon, and you'll be notified of all my future videos and streams. Boy, that sounds like he has said that before, doesn't it, folks? Anyway, I love what he has to say here. He says, watched your members only video that included In the Beginning by Terry Draper early this morning. I suggest everyone check it out. Thanks, Michael. And that is my members only video. So if you are a member of this tribe, we'll get to some of you here in just a minute. We don't have time today for an entire roll call. The membership has grown exponentially, and I know I'm not going to keep all of you, but I want to keep as many of you as possible. So things are happening over there on the members only video, and I consider, like I said last night, Terry to be a friend, and I will miss him. Rest in peace, Terry Draper, songwriter and drummer for the prog rock pop band Klaatu, in my opinion, Canada's number one band, even over the Guess Who and Rush, and that says a whole lot. I absolutely loved them. Okay, so then we get over to, by the way, Yahashua, Josh, just said thanks in his super thanks that I was covering there. And then this comment that Ben made last night that I didn't cover. He said, never heard of Uriah Heep until I saw you talk about him in your videos. After this stream tonight, I'm going to have a listen to their discography. And you know what, Ben? I heard that time and time again when I did my first video, one of my most successful videos. I think it's currently at about 153,000 views, right? I kept hearing it. I didn't know too much about them. I knew they were in the periphery, but I didn't know much about them. And you've really, piqued my interest. So, and that's one of the reasons why we do this. But I'm also covering Uriah Heep, not just to cover a band that's a little bit more mysterious or less known as, say, Zeppelin or Sabbath or Purple or the Beatles or, bands that have had plenty of time and decades in the highlight. But this is truly one of my favorite bands in rock and roll. And out of the heavy bands in rock and roll, at the time, they were active with a certain lineup. And of course, that lineup was with David Byron, Mick Box, Gary Thane on bass, Lee Kerslake on drums, and Ken Hensley on keyboards and occasional guitar, and songwriter extraordinaire. All right. So that lineup to me is a major lineup. As a matter of fact, Lee Kerslake and Gary Thane, drummer and bass player, are, in my opinion, one of rock and roll's top rhythm sections. Okay, so keep that in mind as we go tonight, because we're going to be doing a comparison of what many would consider and what you guys voted as their very best albums. And that is, of course, Demons and Wizards. And we're also going to be covering The Magician's Birthday. And I'm going to do a track by track comparison, folks. All right. Okay, so that takes care of that. I also wanted to, let's see, it didn't go over here far enough. Uh, for last night's stream, the following people gave us super thanks. Boy, they were coming in right and left. It was only an hour stream. And you guys really have turned out to support this channel. Both Kimberly and I want to thank you very much for all of your support. I thank Kimberly for all her hard work behind the scenes. It is tough on her to make these streams, and I appreciate you, darling. Thank you so much. Now, as far as those who gave us super thanks last night, again, Ben Scheidecker with a $2, the power of two. We talk about that all the time. A lot of people will see a 50 or a 75, even $100 super thanks come across every once in a while, and they go, well, I could give $2, but that's not going to help. Yes, it would. They count up, and you'll see so like they did last night. So Ben Scheidecker with $2. Deuces Wild. I've got to get to his, don't I, Kimberly?
Yes,
Uh,
you
$20. Thank you, Deuce. Agent Pepsi, one, who we found out is a sister. $2. The power of two. Richie C, 59. A $5 super thanks. Egger, ear splitting Ladenboomer, who I know as Gear Jam, came in with another $2. Deuces Wild followed that with a $2. Paul P401 came up with 10,000 COPs. Thank you so much for that, Paul. I appreciate it. He's also bought in the past, as some of these folks have, free memberships to the channel. If anyone ever does that, be sure to grab them, because then you'll get a chance to know what's going on behind the scenes, because it's really starting to get exciting, folks. So thank you so much for that. Rockin' Robin Bird came in with a $2 super thanks again. Storm Cop 55, James, thank you very much, with a $10. And then he followed that up with yet another $10. Just the facts, man, not to be outdone, also came in with a $10 super thanks. And finally, Ben Scheidecker with another $5 super thanks. And of course, I covered that comment tonight, didn't I? All right. So we've already discussed another thing. We are less than 50 away. I think we're actually about 43 subscribers away from hitting 45,000. So do a brother a solid. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. We've been trying to get to that 45,000 for a long time now, right? It's been a goal of mine, and I want to set a new goal, right? Of course, you got to have a new goal, but I want to be able to revel in that 45,000 subscriber number for a day or two, right? So tell a friend, tell a neighbor, television, but don't you dare spit him into the eye, because he ain't going to like that, folks. But sharing my videos also will get people to watch them, and they'll also join. So let's see what we can do to move that up. I've talked about the leaderboard. We are developing merch. I still want to hear from you folks on what you think a slogan is that you'd like to see that I can design into a tribal cup. One of the things I'm thinking of is a cup with a tribal design and saying, "We are the tribe." What do you think of that? I'm also thinking of offering tribal chieftain mugs and tribal elder mugs. Those are my first three ideas to offer, and I'm also looking into t-shirts and all of that. Okay, so you guys have been asking about that for a long time. So, and I've been really lazy getting off on that. I got to spend a couple of days this week taking care of looking into that very seriously. All right, so now, first of all, just to recap, like I said, the best way to watch this stream, if you're not watching it live right now and you're catching this on replay, but you haven't seen the stream just before it, I would suggest watch that. That's about an hour. and I get into the band. But just a quick recap. Basically, the band was started by Mick Box. It's out there today with Mick Box. There's no other original members. Matter of fact, that lineup I mentioned, none of them are alive except for Mick Box, and he's out touring with a band that he calls Uriah Heep. And I've seen videos of them performing. They sound amazing. And if the price was right, I'd go see them. First of all, just to see Mick Box play, then to hear a band play Uriah Heep music would be cool. I wouldn't be thinking that I was going to see Uriah Heep because you guys already know what my thoughts are on that. You have to have a certain core membership for me to recognize them as the band they purport to be. But from what I've seen, for a cover band, which is kind of like what they are at this point, with one original member left, they really smoke. They're really really good, right? So he was one of the original members. He had gotten together with this young man named David Garrick. They decided to start a band. David Garrick later changed his name to Byron after Lord Byron, and he became David Byron, the lead singer. It wasn't too long before they added, and they were adding and subtracting members all along. You've got to understand that. More on that in a minute. But they added Ken Hensley, who was a keyboardist, after already contracting to have a studio keyboardist play a couple of tracks on their upcoming album. They wanted a more keyboard oriented sound, not unlike what Vanilla Fudge had to offer. That was their inspiration. Of course, Ken Hensley came on. It wasn't too long before they figured out the guy could write. He was a great co-writer, so he could work with people. And if nobody was in the building, he could write quite on his own. He was responsible for writing the vast majority or co-writing the vast majority of their music. Yeah, baby.
Deuces Wild wanted you to read his super.
I'm going over there right now, baby, but thank you for the reminder. Because I know I'm getting into the intro here just a bit long. Deuces Wild, right? $10. I just listened to The Magician's Birthday again today. Good. This is timely. I must say, thinking about it, I would put it at least neck and neck with Demons and Wizards. Such a brilliant album with divine atmosphere. Oh, brother, you're going to love this stream. That's all I can say, Deuce. But thank you so much for this $10, brother. And I'm sorry I'm long in the tooth. Sometimes I just go by, I go by instincts, but I'm glad that Kimberly mentioned, because you were about ready to disappear up there, weren't you?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm glad I got to you. And remember what Deuce is saying here, folks, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to be doing a track by track comparison of this album. I'll talk about that in a minute. All right, so after getting Ken Hensley on board, by the time they came to record what is considered their best album ever, Demons and Wizards, they had also added, by that time, their fifth drummer with Lee Kerslake. See that video from a couple of years ago, and I give you every single drummer by name, including every single bass player. But they had added their fifth drummer, Lee Kerslake, and their third bass player with Gary Thane. This was what many fans considered to be the classical lineup of Uriah Heep. Okay, so it was from that point on. Then they did the Magician's Birthday album, and they did other albums as well. As a matter of fact, one of you in the comments last night on the replay mentioned this album right here and said, this one's just as good. And this is the album I couldn't remember, Sweet Freedom. All right. Last night, remember, I was having trouble. I go, well, that one was pretty good too. Now, my only concern with this album, but I want to get it on vinyl, is this is a clear, Stealin' sounds like any of the very best of any Uriah Heep song ever, just by itself, right? It was a bit of a hit, got a lot of airplay on that album, right? So for you who said that, I forgot which one of you said it. That's my response to you. That was a fantastic album, as was Wonder World. on its own, but with those two albums, I started losing a bit of interest in the band. They seem to have lost the direction that I was interested in. They're more fantasy based, where you have to have a suspension of disbelief to even listen to this band. I mean, good Lord, folks, take a look at the artwork. What do you think is going to be on these albums, right? And by the way, if you ever get a chance, take a real close look at that album. That's there's some a bit of a dirty joke going on with that album artwork, right? And then the other album we're going to be taking a look at tonight is, of course, the Magician's Birthday. Again, both album covers done by Roger Dean, the same artist who did a lot of the album covers, most of the album covers for the prog rock band Yes. Okay. So we're going to be taking a look at those two albums and we're going to compare them track by track. All right. Now let me bring that down because that's pretty bright and I can still read it there. All right, so now by track, I mean one album has 9 tracks and the other album has 8 tracks. So what I'm going to do, side one and side B, each side one on both albums, I should say, has 5 songs. So that'll be easy. I'm going to compare them track one to track one, track two to track two. We're going to keep track and we're going to see if one of these albums comes to the fore based on per song and comparing that song and its space on the album with the counterpart and its space on the other album, right? Now, when we get to side two, Demons and Wizards has 4 tracks, and The Magician's Birthday has 3. So, what I'll be doing there is comparing Paradise, the track Paradise and the Spell, to The Magician's Birthday, that cut on The Magician's Birthday. Magician's Birthday goes at about 10 minutes and 21 seconds. These two songs together clock in at a little over 13 minutes. I think that's a fair assessment. And Wizards and Demons has 2 songs to put The Magician's Birthday out of contention. We'll get to that as we go along. All right. So, first of all, we're going to compare track one of Demons and Wizards, which is The Wizard, and track one of The Magician's Birthday, which is called Sunrise. Now, first of all, both of these cuts are great cuts. As a matter of fact, even comparing these cuts tonight, album to album, make no mistake, each and every one of these tracks are a winner. And it's sad that one has to take one over, right? So with Wizard versus Sunrise, okay, I got to tell you, I was gonna choose Sunrise. Sunrise. Oh, it's so dramatic and everything. Like I said, it's wonderful. But the more I listen to Wizard, I realize it has a better song structure. And the band is more engaged with that, with Sunrise being more of a ballad approach to it and everything. But you got to take in, the whole classic lineup and everything. Plus, The Wizard, as good as a melody and everything else as Sunrise is, Wizard ties it on that. So, with a better band approach, I've got to choose Wizard. 1 point to Demons and Wizard. All right. Now, track two on Demons and Wizards is Traveler in Time, 2 L's, Traveler in Time versus Spider Woman. Okay. Both strong tracks, Spider Woman being on The Magician's Birthday. Now, Traveler on Demons and Wizards, you know what? I got to tell you, both of these, Spider Woman, is just one of those great slide guitars. I mean, you're going to love it. I mean, it's a foot tapper, right? But Traveler has that same approach. It's almost impossible to choose between them, except for when you get to about 2 minutes and 30 seconds into Traveler. And that's when the band does a sudden stop, and then they kick ass for the next 27 seconds until the song ends. It's based on that bit of editing that I'm going to go ahead and give the nod to Traveler off of Demons and Wizards. That's 2 for Demons and Wizards, 0 for the Magician's Birthday. All right. Now, when we get to track 3, on Demons and Wizards, we have Easy Living. On Magicians, we have Blind Eye. All right. Now, this is one that is almost impossible to choose. I mean, my God, you've got Easy Living, you've got I mean, that's the whole groove of it and everything. It got tons of airplay and everything else, and yet at the same time, Blind Eye, what a wonderful song. Listen to some of these lyrics. Stranger than the sunrise, darker than the night, fiercer than a rainstorm. This is a man's delight, weaker than a moment, and hot as any fire, blinder than a blind eye. This is a man's desire, right? So at that point, I had to give it to Ty. The groove of easy listening, and there's going to be 2 ties tonight, and the lyrics of Blind Eye. Man, you gotta give them a tie, right? So now we have 3 points to 1, with Demons and Wizards winning so far. Now, when I take a look at the next one, Poet's Justice versus Echoes in the Dark, uh, I see another tie. And this one was almost impossible to come up with anything else. But the highlights on both of these and why they're a tie is, again, and I mentioned this earlier in the stream, is that we got Curse Lake and Gary Thane doing some of their best stuff. I love the way the Curse Lake goes to his rolls, right? Clicking his snare as part of the roll, backing up and then coming down, all the time able to live sing the harmonies that he's doing. Gary Thing has almost a McCartney approach for a heavy bass player. Filling in, both of them filling their fills and their bass runs around the main event, whether that be lead vocals or actual guitar solos or anything. Mindful of the band, giving the band space. Wonderful tracks, both of them. So at that point, what do we have? 4-2 at this point. 4-2, favoring Demons and Wizards. The next up was Circle of Hands versus Rain. Rain, hands down, Rain is one of the best songs in rock. A beautiful blues-based thing with lots of melody. White boy melody with lots of blues. Down south blues approaches by David Byron in this. I couldn't see anything else. So now we're at 4-3. Rainbow Demon versus Sweet Lorraine is the next one that's up. All right. So let's make sure. Yeah. Before we get into that, so that's side 1, and we have a slight edge for Demons and Wizards, right? On the next one, Rainbow Demon, the side 2 versus Sweet Lorraine. I've got to give it to Rainbow Demon. Just plain and simple. Listen to these lyrics. There rides the rainbow demon on his horse of crimson fire. Black shadows are following closely on the heels of his desire. Riding on in the midst of morning, no one dared to stand in his way. Possessed by something, some distant calling, riding on through night and day. Once again, suspension of disbelief. Remember the album covers and everything, right? Be willing to go along for the ride. Be willing to feel the excitement, the way that David Byron approaches these, right? Okay, so next comes up. So yeah, that ties it up right there, folks. All right. And let's see, because one of their lyrics, all tales. Okay. Paradise and Spell. Okay, so no, they're still ahead. And then All My Life versus Tails. Tails, hands down. So Magician's Birthday gets another one right there. Again, because it's one of their very best songs, superior melody and lyrics. Lyrics like this: no thought of sleep ever dwells upon the wise man's mind, some task or audience stealing every moment of his time. I just love lyrics like this. They make you think and everything. So kudos to that. So we can see that the magician's birthday is catching up. Now, when we get to the last tracks on this album, we're talking about the last two tracks on Demons and Wizards, which is Paradise and the Spell, versus the magician's birthday. Okay. Now, even though the last two songs on uh, Demons and Wizards are fantastic, and you've got two different kinds of thoughts, and that's the strength of those two when you compare them to the magician's birthday. But the magician's birthday is like the magician's birthday's magnus opus. It is the statement of the album, right? I mean, it really is the statement. But what a powerful way to uh, to conclude an album, even all in one song, with these other two songs having to be doubled up to even come close to its time, actually beating it by about 2 minutes, but not much more than that, right? So I would have to give it to the magician's birthday. So when you get this, it's basically a tie when you compare them track to track. You give the magician's birthday, you give it a point 0.5 because it competed against two. I would say that maybe song to song, the magician's birthday actually barely by a breath beats out Demons and Wizards. But, and here's the big but, to listen to these albums as a complete piece, and I did all morning, the more listenable, the one that takes you on a ride. You don't care, you're not comparing this song versus Magician's Birthday, or listening to the Magician's Birthday, you're not comparing any of the songs to, the Wizard, right? You're not going to be doing that. I've got to say that Demons and Wizards plays a little more ear friendly to the ear. It all depends on what you're looking for, what you are trying to get out of this band. All right. So that's what I think in regard to comparing both of these albums. It doesn't matter which one you get, you're going to like it if you like
Oh my
Uriah
goodness.
Heep.
Bill
I
Hawkins
see that.
gave
Let
her
me
happy birthday.
let me go on over here and take a look at
Bill.
this. Now I've got to increase the screen because I'm not looking at widescreen anymore. Otherwise, I won't be able to read you, Bill. Bill comes in with a $20 super thanks. Thank you, Bill, so much.
Oh.
But Look at Yourself is still better. And I'm just now starting to listen to Look at Yourself a whole lot, and it is great. And I can't say anything about it because I wasn't that aware of it, like I am of these. But I am going to be listening to that, and that's what I'm looking for out in the wild, Bill. But good point. Incredible album. And Look at Yourself was mentioned on that list of the best songs quite a bit, wasn't it, Bill? Right? All right. So let me catch up on something here. Don of the Frank is in. Love these albums. I have every one with David Byron, but never bought another after he left. I'm still very partial to their first LP. Come Away, Melinda. Yes, I love that song. Almost doesn't sound like Uriah Heep. There is another version I haven't heard yet on an extended cut or extended version of the album, Dawn. But I love that song. I said so in my last stream, didn't I? Last night. Gypsy, Bird of Prey, so good. And wasn't Bird of Prey co-written? And they put it on one version. I'm trying to remember. Was that their first album too? And we got Bird of Prey here, but they didn't get Bird of Prey there because Bird of Prey was on another album. They did a fast shuffle, and I thought that Bird of Prey was one of the songs in one of the very earliest songs that Ken Hensley got on an album. Am I right about that, Don? Caitlin Stoddard, it's so good to see you, darling. Dividing Dragon, Beagles are fun dogs. Caitlin's talking about dogs. I love it. Uh, I used to work in animal boarding where I did take care of that dog breed. All right, you guys see what I'm saying? Aunt Petunia's potato bread recipe is being discussed. I'm just hitting and missing here. Royce in the house. Hey, Royce, thanks for having me on last night. By the way, my latest video shares about. Good Lord, I don't even think I looked at the time of what it is. It's probably about 10 or 11 minutes of the conversation we had over on Royce's excellent channel last night. After I streamed, I went over to uh, his stream, and we had a good old time talking about the band America. And I'm sharing about a 10-minute, 11-minute portion of like over a 2 hour stream. So if you like to get the flavor of what we covered, you can watch my video and then go on over to Royce and see the full on stream. We had a ball. Good to see you in there, brother. Dividing Dragon Christian says, Caitlin's daughter, I have a rescue beetle named Shiloh. I love the name. I love the name, Christian. We had a golden retriever and we named her Savannah. So, and we just lost her. She was 17 years old.
She was a best
Golden retriever, 17 years old. We had her as a rescue puppy. And we had her from, oh God, she was days old when we fed her bottles and nursed her back to health and had a lifetime with her, brother. So I love Shiloh. I love that name, don't you, babe?
Yes, I do. I love Shiloh.
Shiloh would be a good name.
Yeah.
I think so. Tiger Rogers' Paradise, the spell for me. The melodies of both songs is sublime, and I got to agree with you, Tiger. Like I said, when I was doing it, I had to make a choice. There were two or three songs that were ties. I just couldn't. I'm sorry. You know, one would have the stronger melody, but the other one had a better band representation. One would have a better set of lyrics, yet the other one had this wonderful bridge. I think there's better bridge development. Maybe that's why I'm finding that Demons and Wizards is a lot more listenable to me in general, brother. I don't know, right? Okay, so who else do we have here? Just the Facts Man is in. Dan was up on the stream last night with us as well. Dan and Royce both just did an interview with Mark Furner from Grand Funk Railroad. I will not say Grand Funk. I'm sorry. I just won't. It's Grand Funk Railroad. And a great interview. They did a bang up job on that. And from what I understand, Royce is loading up. Is that a members only video, Royce? I saw your notification. He was having trouble getting his file for, I guess there's going to be completely different edited video approaches from Royce's and Dan. So I encourage everybody to get up and watch both versions, right? Dan is just the facts man, and Royce is Royce in the house, both brother channels to this channel. So it's good to see you both there. Let's see. Uh, okay, who else here? Tails, hands down. Yeah, Tails. God, I hear you. I hear you. God, what a song, huh? You know, that's the thing is it's some of their power ballads that I really love by this band, but I love their dirtier stuff too, Tiger. All every time. Uh, Postman's walk up music, says Bill Hawkins. Who else? Yeah, Stormcott's having trouble because he says, dang, I can't spell to save my life. Well, you or me either. I had to correct something. I said whatever, Ben, and I spelled them, and then that's embarrassing. But I hear you, brother. James Redding, good to see you. I just listened to Sunrise. I've never heard before. I like it better than Wizard. I never really heard many of their songs before. And you know what, James? Out of those two, um, it's got the boldest, right? Sunrise, da 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 da. That. It sounds like music to a movie. The samurai at the end of the movie. It's got that wonderful thing. But then You've got this other one, dun, 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 of 1,000 years, and you hear his echo going, yes, 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 yes. There's so much breath in it. So to me, that's a hard choice. But I hear you. I hear you, and I can't fault you for choosing it. Not at all. Like I said at the beginning of my comparison, there isn't a weak track there, folks. There just isn't. Let's see, who else do we have here? Dividing Dragon. Uh, how could we miss Caitlin? She's been dancing around the atrium. Are you still talking about Shiloh, Christian? Is that what's going on there? Oh, just keep trying to keep it all together and not relax, says Kimberly. Who else do we have here? Just making sure. Okay. JOS, Joss, says Demons and Wizards was more successful than Magician's Birthday. It certainly was. On Billboard 200 chart, reaching number 23 in 1972. Yeah. And I just did a poll that I mentioned when I was going over this to begin with. You guys have voted that you like Demons and Wizards clearly well over Magician's Birthday. And Magician's Birthday came in second, and a very strong second, though, over other albums that were in contention. So, there's no doubt that financially it was the most successful album and the most well known, right? And I don't know why they couldn't, you know, come closer to duplicating the sales with Magician's Birthday, because Magician's Birthday, man, that thing sings. It sings. And the worst thing you can say is that, I could see if someone said, well, it's slightly not as good. But to say that it's not even in contention to Demons and Wizards, to me, is just outright silly. Um, Demons and Wizards and Magicians were both. Oh, okay, good. I like this. Yeah, boy, Joss, you've got a ton. JOS, Joss, I'm just going to call you Joss. You got a ton of info. Demons and Wizards and Magician's Birthday were both by the same audio engineer, Peter Gallen. Now, at the end of let me take a sip off this. Oh, mama. Okay, now, at the end of my thing, I was going to mention that what I'd like to do, maybe I did, as a possible follow up to this, not in my next stream. I want to get on to something else in my next stream, but we'll get back to Uriah Heep in the future. And what I was thinking is going over each and every member of the band or key members of the band, certainly the five members that I mentioned, as well as their manager, the tale around how all of that evolved and everything. I think that's kind of a cool story, right? And so we might get into that, and I could see the engineer fitting into that entire presentation, brother. So, Kimberly, could you do a screenshot of that? Josh, Demons and Peter Gallen. I've got it. Hold on. Oh, no, I don't. I thought I had it. What I did was turned off the iPad. Okay, here we go. All right, I've got it. I've got that all saved up, Josh. I want to take a look at the engineer's name and everything. And if we do this in the future, brother, I will have a resource to look up for the name and everything. So I thank you very much for that. Let's see. Dwayne Chamberlain 3.5. That is one reason I'm not fond of CDs. I prefer the size of old covers. Yeah, me too. Me too. I have CDs. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I've got a few back here. Not very many. Here's Terry Draper's um, album, and he actually signed this one, uh, and he signed it. Look at this. I asked him for a signed CD, and he said, "What was it? Cheers, Kim, Terry Draper." Right. So my wife got a signed copy of Terry Draper's. This is the album, by the way, that you were talking about that has In the Beginning, right? It's the first cut off the album and everything. Wonderful album, wonderful album. And there's another CD of Clat 2, right? I've got a few here and there, but the problem is can you imagine this album blown up, right? And this thing is that big. That would have looked great. Here, especially as one gets older, it's just not as detailed and everything. It's almost like a little pocketbook, and you go, oh, okay, and you flip through it, and you almost feel that way. But when you get album covers, and in size, for example, The Magician's Birthday. I mean, this takes on a whole different perspective, doesn't it? And here's another thing I love about vinyl. Now, as you all know, I'm into CDs. I am into streaming and newly back into vinyl. I used to be into vinyl big time back in the day, had a large collection, right? And through Royce, always sending me albums, I just one day went and got a turntable, got myself a system, and started collecting. Royce started it all. He's evil, I tell you, you know. But anyway, Royce has sent me so many albums, but this is one I picked up, and I shared this also on the stream last night, I think, too. And I'm sorry that the image is backwards. We're still experiencing technical difficulties. So much to do these days. But these are the two that I've so far gotten back. Of course, I'm looking for Demons and Wizards, but it's a whole different experience, right? You tend to take care of the vinyl. You put it in special, wrapping swaddling clothes, right? And then put a jacket over it to protect the artwork, right? And then when you take it out, you have to take this out and then you pull the album out, you place it onto your turntable, right? You give it a good clean swipe and you clean off your stylus and you put it up there, you gear it in, you bring it. See how involved you are, folks, right? You shouldn't put down your turntable lid. Keep it up or take it off if you can, you know, and get the best listening experience. Now you're involved. Now you go and sit down. Phew, that was a lot of work, right? So you tend to listen to the whole side. You don't have this button that you can go, well, that's a good track, but I'll listen to that later. Oh, here. Oh, I like this group. No, not quite. And a lot of people, that's the problem with streaming. That's the problem with CDs, right? So you're kind of invested into the whole experience of listening. And then you get up and you have to take it up, you put it back down, right? You re-gear, you clean this side off, yeah, ooh, ah, right? You know, the lights are down, the candles are lit. There's an aroma in the air that puts you in the mood, right? And it becomes an experience. So I agree with you when you say there's just something about the artwork. It takes on and people of later generations just, for the most part, I see them in record stores and they're absolutely enamored by the artwork they can so clearly see now. Instead of it being a little thing that you can hold in one hand, now you need two hands and an arm practically. When you move it, it swings to the forearm here to kind of secure it. It's not a flick of the wrist type of thing, right? So you're more involved. There is a warmer sound that comes from records. A lot of that has to do with distortion, which is not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. Distortion is something I've done videos on this. Distortion is like that scraping on the walls, the chisels on the walls that created ancient Egypt. Just we're making this megaton statue and we're doing it. And thousands of years from now, they'll wonder how we marveled such fantastic things. And it must be in our DNA when a needle gets down and scratches that record, gets in there and digs and tries to find that information, right, as it's going along. And there's something warm about that. It's almost like being in the womb. And so you're much more involved. A crackle here or there even adds to ambiance. The one album I have here, Wonder World, has more than a crackle or two, especially when a song starts soft, is you hear that, but as soon as the band engages, it's not there. And I even said last night, you hear the crackle at that point. once or twice, it's almost like, welcome home. It's an experience that you either grew up with or you have no idea about. Now, if you don't like crackles, just make sure you get really good records, take really good care of them, and you can keep most of that to a tameable um, level, you know, almost to the point of no crackling at all. And it is a different experience. Now, whether that sound is superior to CD or not, that's a whole different argument. And we're not going to be covering that anyway tonight anyway, right? That's not the subject tonight, but it on one hand it is superior, and I can give you the entire argument that says digital music is the way to go, and that we should have ditched LPs decades ago, which we thought we had if you think about it. When the CDs came out, I sold my album collection and got a CD collection, right? And then sold that and then did streaming. Now I've got a few CDs still and the streaming service. And now, well, I guess I'm about 125 albums in, right? And so, no hurry to grow it. Get it when I can. Got a couple of bucks. Out and about, and I stop off at a used record store, get a good buy there, an occasional new album that's been re-released or something like an order, but just watch it slowly grow over time and have a good time and enjoy the freaking experience, right? Okay, let's take a look at some of the latest comments here. Did I get everybody, by the way? I just want to check this last one out. Yes. Okay, good. Yeah, I covered Bill Hawkins' Look at Yourself comment, and you're right. It is a fabulous album. Just not what I have been traditionally aware of, Bill, but I have been listening to that album actually this last week or so, more than even Magician's Birthday, and not today by any stretch of the imagination, but over the weeks, even Demons and Wizards. Okay. Uh, let's see. Oh, okay, good. Donna the Frank has an interesting thing here. She says, yeah, first of all, I see Dawn and I think, woman, are you a woman? I've often wondered, Dawn. Let me know if you're, or maybe you're Frank. Are you Frank? Dawn of the Frank. I am a manly
I
man.
like that
Right?
name.
Look for Dawn of the Franks. I do. I like the whole thing. Yeah, Dawn of the Frank Part Two. It's like a movie. But look for Dawn of the Franks reply as to whether male or female, or whatever they identify as. Let me know. But it says if anyone wants to check out Uriah Heep without buying all the LPs, the compilation Travelers in Time 2 CD set is an amazing combination. I'll be looking for that. Thanks for that extra information. And by the way, that's fine if you were into CDs and everything. Today's stream was basically, and yesterday's was to give you a taste of what the band is. We can't share the music here live. You get into trouble doing that stuff, right? But to just give you a taste of what to expect if you're, yeah, my older brother had that, but I never got into it. I heard it coming out of his room, but I never listened to it close. But Michael's talking it up. He's got piqued my interest. Which one of these two albums would I suggest? Demons and Wizards. Okay, pound for pound, it delivers the melody and the words that Magician's Birthday does. And like I said, it also plays as an album a little nicer, and you get one extra track on top of that, even though probably not extra time, right? Um, which cover do I like? I like Demons and Wizards, right? A dirty little cover. You guys got to take a look at that cover. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Phallic humor, you know, uh, sexual humor all over that cover. Roger Dean, I didn't know you were so dirty-minded. Uh, Oberheim, Dividing Dragon. If you go to that concert, you'll be able to pick up their new album. before it's released in July. I've got to go back up and find out what. Uh, let's see. I'm trying to find divining to find out which one he's going. He's checking in Dallas. I have a new one at the concert. I'm looking for you. Uh, I'm looking for you, Christian, to find out where it is that what concert you are thinking of going to, and it's just not coming through, or it's not popping up for me. Uh, but good luck on whatever. Are you talking about Uriah Heep with Mick Box? Are they currently touring? I know that he's been on and off and on, and everything, doing more touring than not touring. And I like what I see. Like I said, if the price was right, I'd go see him. Mick Box, fantastic guitarist. Alex Trigo, I have on CD Demons and Wizards. It sounds great. Paradise the Spell, a lot of memories when I was a boy back in the end of the 70s. And okay, Alex, and you're the second one to bring up Paradise uh, and the Spell as being very much, in contention against the track, The Magician's Birthday. Thank you very much. Let's see. Who else do you got here? Oh, Novus, are you in here? I see somebody's talking to Novus. Yeah, you just didn't jump up yet, Novus. I'm looking at the comments. I don't look at names.
Bill Hawkins
I look
says, now
for
let's compare Disraeli gears to wheels of fire.
who's that?
Bill Hawkins, he says, now let's compare Disraeli gears to wheels of fire.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh. I'm trying to remember which one of those has the live cuts. I want the one with the live cuts. Royce could tell us. Let us know, Royce, which is the one that actually has the live cuts out of those two albums. They're both great albums. Just trying to remember. I had them back in the day. I never rebought them on CD, so it's been decades since I had them. But I love them. I love them. I plan to get them, of course. Disraeli Gears is the easy answer, right? Isn't it? I think. Joss in with another. Ken Hensley, 2016 interview said, quote, I was writing a short story called The Magician's Birthday, and the title track was the core song from which all the others spread out to paint the complete picture. Isn't that wonderful? And as a songwriter, that's what I'll often do. Short story will set me off, put me into a weird point of view, and I go to town. Love it. Thanks, Josh. You're coming up with some great information here.
Cream is good too.
What's that?
Deuces Wild says cream is good too.
Cream is good too. Oh, yeah. God. Fresh cream is good. Yeah, fresh cream is good too. Yeah, it's a great album.
Cream the band.
Yeah. No, fresh cream is an album, baby.
All fresh cream.
Yeah, fresh cream is an album. A fantastic album. Cream, God. If Royce was up here, we'd be talking about Cream instead of Uriah Heep any day. He's a major Cream fan. I'm a major Eric Clapton fan, so therefore, a very firm Cream fan. I love them. Yeah, they're not my favorite of favorite bands, but man, they're way up there. Cream would definitely be in my top 15. I don't know if they'd make my top 10 bands.
Novus Nick said, Michael, any cream is good.
Any cream is good. But isn't fresh cream just a little fresher? No, I hear you, Nick. Absolutely, I hear you. Ginger Break. Stephen Fox says Ginger Baker was a wild drummer. Ginger Baker was a wild guy. Ginger Baker was like a lit match.
Yeah.
Near a keg of dynamite. He is one of those one of the outlaws of rock. I kind of think, that's the way I think of Ginger Baker. He just kind of says what's on his mind, right? That's awesome. Jack Bruce is that killer combination singer, bass player. Oh, that's awesome. Storm Cup, you monster. Kimberly just left the room. She's getting coffee. Shh, don't tell anybody. Oh, brother. She's going to freak out. I better, maybe I better get up and kind of bring her in. Storm Cop. Okay. This is wonderful. Storm Cop 55 came in with a $100 super thanks. Thank you, brother. What can I say? I want to read this. Michael, take Kimberly out for a nice dinner. You don't think she ain't going to suggest it, son? She is doing an amazing job. The tribe rocks. Oh boy, well, she better get in here before you float up out of the way. You know what? I'm gonna take a screenshot just in case. You never know how long she's gone. Um, but she has other duties in this house. Sometimes I'll be busy here, and we still have two 18-year-old identical twin boys that have to be. Well, let's just put. Uh, Reassessed and redirected.
Oh,
Hi,
hi,
darling.
Daisy. Storm Cop gave you a super thanks.
Did you see how much?
Yes, I did. Oh my God.
It's amazing, huh?
Storm Cop is awesome.
Yeah. Well,
Oh my
listen to this,
God.
baby. Listen to
Oh,
what he
I
has to
love
say.
you, Storm Cop.
He says, Michael, take Kimberly out for a nice dinner.
Oh my goodness.
She is doing an amazing job.
Oh my goodness.
The tribe rocks. Ah, sweetie,
Oh.
I agree. By the way, you are
Yes.
doing an amazing job. And this does, believe it or not, this takes it out. Royce could tell you this streaming. It takes it out of you. And doing two streams in a row,
Whoa.
usually when I do these, I don't do them every week, do I? Once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks, I'll do a Monday stream, right? And I didn't even ask for super thanks last night. You guys just came in. I felt like, good Lord, I got to give you something extra. And James, boy, what can I say? You know, James is my longest. I like to call him ongoing. I think I got like two super thanks before James ever gave me a super thanks, ever in the history of this channel.
Just Bustin, welcome to Tribal Elder.
Oh my goodness. Just Bustin. I hope you enjoy it. Take a look at that 40-minute interview with Terry Draper. It'll be my latest video over there for the members only. And then I have a couple of others. One of Terry Draper, it's a shorter one, like within 10 minutes, that has flavors of the song that winds up at the end of my latest 40-minute video, brother, because it has the entire song and you'll know what you are. Welcome, Tribal Elder, just bustin'. Okay, brand new Tribal Elder. The tribe grows, folks. That's wonderful. Let's see. Deuces Wild Cream is so up on my list. Yeah, if Royce was up here, he would go, "Oh yeah, me too, me too." I mean, Royce has been probably the single loudest voice supporting Cream on the panel over at Royce's house, and I love him. Are you freaking kidding me? I had the Crossroads anthology of that band. I just absolutely love them. But with Royce, it's like, no, you don't just love them, Michael. You have to worship them, practically. I know, putting words in your mouth, Royce. Stop that, Michael. Joss, Mickbox, favorite influential albums were The Shadows and Holly chirping crickets. Really, I didn't know that. But you know what? Mick goes back. He's got to be in his 80s now. And yeah, The Shadows. The Shadows were influence on a lot of people, you know back in those more innocent days, they'd be doing that thing. And, it's like you can also get a hold of, the early days of the Beach Boys. It's almost listening to them now, they sound like a barbershop quartet with flavorings of rock, but you didn't realize that that's not the way we viewed them when they first came out. They were exciting. They were beach boys. Everybody wanted to be a beach boy. Go to the beach, pick up girls, ride surfboards, whether you did it or not, right? But you wanted to kind of hang 10, baby, and all of that. And so a lot of people's influences come from what a lot of younger listeners might think as being kind of corny music. See, the further back you go, and this includes jazz in the 40s, uh, it goes back to oompa bands in the late 1800s, barbershop shop quartets. You got to put yourself into a frame of mind. when you listen to that music. You don't judge it. You don't listen to Vivaldi Four Seasons and go, I don't know, they just don't crank like Zepp, man. No, you got to put your mind. You got to adjust your listening capacity and go, okay, today we're in a different universe now. And if you do that and you listen to Vivaldi, then you get that, God, the guy was insane. Wow, did you hear that passage? Whoa. You know what I mean? You can really get into different styles of music, but often because it's considered old fashioned, oh no, it's not the latest. See, that's a lot of the young people today. If it's not hip hop, if it's not rap, you know, because all these small little cars and the speakers take up all their trunk, right? And they're driving down the street. They have about this much space between the road and the bottom end of their car, and they got their tires are about that thick as well, right? Right? And if it isn't that, then they're just not interested. You know, if there are no subtones that are gyrating, you know, the shorts off of anybody over 30, then it's just not worth it. And you put yourself into a situation where you're not able to change your mind, first of all, and that includes in your life. If you are so pigeonholed into, no, I like this. No, sorry, that's what I like. And if indeed you've reached that point in your life and that's the way you are, fine. Everybody's got their own ability to make up their minds. But I would always strongly suggest be willing to take a mental trip down whatever lane it takes to make that music or that movie or that book
Agent
more
Pepsi.
accessible to your heart and your brain
Oh my
and your
goodness,
soul,
thanks, hon.
right? I
Ben,
saw that.
yeah, Ben just gave us a super thanks too.
Ben, thank you,
So
boy.
much, Ben.
He's been
Oh,
pepper firing $5 at us all day. Ben Scheidecker, $5. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate it. And again, see, we just got 100. This is five. You think I'm
oh,
any less grateful for this? Or if he had shown up here with a $2, do you think I'd be any less
thank you,
grateful
Ben.
to Ben than James? That's just not true because that's not me, folks. Right? I love this. We need support. You guys are standing up to the plate. I appreciate that so much. We've talked about that. I want to read what he has to say. If J.S. Bach grew up in the '60s, he'd be a classic rock metal god. Yeah. Well, what about? I always love it. People. Um, his fugue in D minor. That's that organ piece that you hear. Na 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 na. That whole thing. I'm off on my tones there, but it's a famous piece. You want to? Could that sell pop culture as big as rock and roll? I'll prove it can.
Oh my goodness, Agent Pepsi won.
Oh, thanks, darling. $2, the power of two. I'm going to get back to your bot comment here, but I want to handle this. Michael and Kimberly, I appreciate all that you do. Isn't that sweet?
You're so nice.
Thank you, darling. We appreciate it so much. We work harder than we look. Really, truly, we do. We appreciate it so much. I do. Um, but getting back, and we found out Agent Pepsi is one of our sisters. I've said that before, but just to kind of let so be gentlemen out there. But getting back to Bach, and that whole piece, could that sell as hard as hard rock? Well, what do they do to sell major movies that are box office hits? They use rock songs like interview with the vampire. All of a sudden, you hear sympathy with for the devil as it fades off and the camera pans away over the Golden Gate Bridge at the end. It sells. It's sexy. It's hot, right? And helped sales for that movie. Well, what about an old movie that some of you may be very familiar with? It was big when I was a young man. I gone and saw this movie 6 or 7 times on its first run. Okay, and that is by James Caan, Rollerball. The whole movie starts off with Bach's piece, and if there is, that's a rock and rolling movie, man. If you're not aware of it, it's the movie about a rollerball player. Rollerball is kind of like roller derby, only there's motorcycles in the ring, and there's spikes on the glove, and there is this ball that they have to catch and score that's shot out like a cannon. And if you get your head in the way of that thing, it'll take it clean off, right? So it was this big popular movie when it came out,
Oh my
right?
goodness.
And
Deuces Wild
Buck sold
came
it.
in with the thing.
I see that. Let me check this one out. Deuces Wild is
Oh,
back in the game
thank
here.
you, Deuces Wild.
$5, another $5. Thank you, Deuce.
Oh,
Slade, Budgie, Argent. Oh God, hold your head up is one of the most powerful pieces. Uh, three bands we need to get into. Criminally underrated with so much firepower. UK hard hitters. I know you'll all love them. Slade, yeah, I was into Slade for a minute and a half. Not that I didn't get out of them because they were bad. I just always kind of faded away from the Flash. That's why I didn't like David Byron's replacement with the eye sparkles and the curly hair, and he looked goofy after David Byron looked like a rock god, right? But Slade was a great band. Who Argent is a great band. And Budgie, I've heard just a little bit, but I love what I hear. Great ideas for future streams. Let me know, guys. Vote on this. Let me absolutely know. Here, I'm going to give you guys. I'm on another thing, so I can't give you a heart because I'm not on my account, but I can certainly give you guys a thumbs up. I'm sorry if I missed any of you. I'm new to this, folks. There we go. I finally gave you a thumbs up, James, before you disappeared beyond the horizon. Thank you so much again for all of your super thanks, guys. But yeah, so that was my only problem with what was his name? Robert Lawton? I, he was kind of tall, lanky, had that tightly curly hair. He was starting to bald already, as a young man, and he wore glitter uh, over his eyelids, uh, and it just didn't look right. Now, a lot of people would say he was the better singer between the two. And I listened to a couple of songs by him, and he is a great singer. And I can see the argument, except for then I hear he didn't have the glissando from natural to falsetto that you hear David Byron handle so masterfully. So I had problems with that. Plus, he looked goofy as shit. I just couldn't get in between tall and lanky and goofy and skinny and eye mascara and all of that just didn't hit me. I had room for one mascara wearing band in my youth, and that was Alice Cooper, right? I wasn't into David Bowie, the glitter guy. I got into David Bowie later when he started settling down, writing Young Americans and all of that. Then went back. I mean, I heard those albums. They were all played at parties. It's not like I wasn't aware of the Spider of Mars or from Mars or whatever it was called. I was aware of it, you know, and heard those albums all the time. But it just was. There were other bands. I'd go and and people would go, "You're kidding me, Mike." I'd go and pick up an album by Uriah Heep faster than I would the early David Bowie years. But that was mainly because his whole visual presentation and everything, it was off-putting to me. Like I said, I don't like a lot of dress up and everything. I mean, looking cool is one thing, but and that bowl haircut of his just bugged the hell out of me. That bowl haircut. He had it like his bangs came right up to here and went right down there. I saw a picture of him as an older gentleman. You go, where did he go?
Hey, hun.
Yeah, but
Agent Pepsi says, what do you think about Bowie's Let's Dance CD? That is my favorite work of his.
I think it's his masterpiece, and everybody else sits up. I think a lot of people sit up and go, well, of course, I like this album and that album, and Ziggy Stardust, and I'm going, okay. First of all, yeah, "Let's Dance" is the album David Bowie hit it on all cylinders. There's not a weak cut on it. Okay, the song strength is there. His vocal delivery is spot on. And on top of that, you get Stevie Ray Vaughan playing guitar all throughout that album, right? I think it's a masterpiece. It's iconic. It's probably stuck in time a bit because it represents. It's like Duran Duran. I brought up. I love Duran Duran. Somebody in the comments went, Duran Duran. Are you kidding me? I loved them. I thought they were great. The Fab Five, right? I loved it. Hungry like a wolf. Rio. You know, the song they did for the last Roger Moore James Bond. View to a Kill. Love that band. 80s happening, new generation. These guys were like 5 to 10 years younger than me at the time, you know. And so I go, oh yeah, okay, the new, coming out. I really liked them. And David Bowie's album fit in at that time, and it had its own freaking identity, right? And listen to the album, turn it on. Just go like if you got the CD, like it was Agent Pepsi, wasn't it?
Yeah.
If you've got your CD, just flick through them, and just go 5 clicks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Listen to the song. I guarantee you, it's a wonder. Doesn't matter where you lined up on that album, it's a wonder. It's his masterpiece. It's his Abbey Road. And that doesn't mean I don't like all those other wonderful albums. It doesn't mean I don't like Ziggy Stardust. It doesn't mean Young Americans and all those albums there. I love him all the way. I loved it when he said, I'm afraid of Americans. I love his whole gig. I watched him do side projects, Bottom. Yeah, baby.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, I thought you said something.
No.
Sorry, darling.
No.
No, okay, I thought you were, whispering in my ear, baby doll. Let's see. Agent Pepsi says the bottom line. Yes, I think it's his masterpiece. Let's Dance, Criminal World, Cat People, China Girl. I have it on SACD. Amazing. I'm glad you concur with that. I'd like to hear more people talk up that album, but you know what? It's so glossy, such a big seller and everything. I think a lot of people almost feel like I can't pick that one. That's too obvious, right? I got to pick a alternative. Yes, that's good, but his real sweet spot, and they get into there and everything. I'm going, yeah, but this is freaking Let's Dance. I mean, it is a modern masterpiece. Just like around the time, I don't know year for year, but around that time, Thomas Dolby's Golden Age of Wireless is a masterpiece, and it represented a time and an 80s style that I was really into. Gary Newman in Cars, that type of sound happening. Uh, of course, we had our losers, like Flock of whatever, Wigs. Uh, doing their Iran. I wish they would have ran right out of the airport. All right, but we had that. I wasn't a fan of the Thompson twins and all of. There was a whole bunch of them. I loved Aha because of the cartoon video they did, and the song is good.
Thomas Dolby, she blinded me with science.
Yeah.
Agent Pepsi.
Good heaven, Mrs. Buttercup.
Got great taste.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
All my, what does he say? All my wires, my tubes and wires, and all my notes. He goes off on this tangent. And I'll tell you, if you like a Golden Age of the Wireless, here's another one you'll like. If you're into Thomas Dolby, The Flat Earth is even better than Golden Age of Wireless. Okay, so there are two that I could recommend from Thomas Dolby. You will not be, but you got to think about his style. Think about She Blinded You by Science, and know where he could go with that. The Flat Earth is a more grown up sounding Thomas Dolby and is my favorite Thomas Dolby album, even over Golden Age of Wireless. Now it's interesting. I just picked up Golden Age of Wireless. I showed it on one of my channel member videos only, right? You guys saw that video. And if you notice, it doesn't have the sticker with him with the glasses, and he's got the wired rim glasses, and he's got some sort of goggles up on his head. You know what I'm talking about. The image sold the album. and it was the image for "She Blinded Me by Science," and they put that on the album. Mine is the version that came out just before that, which is the uh, photo that's behind that sticker to begin with, type of thing, right? And guess what? My version didn't have "She Blinded Me by Science," and yet when I bought Golden Age of Wireless on CD, it had "She Blinded Me by Science." And the reason was is they released it first without "She Blinded Me by Science." He put that out as a single. It was a success. And when they second pressed it, they decided to release it with "She Blinded Me by Science," which makes it an even better album. But I'm glad I have this album because I've been listening to it without hearing "She Blinded Me," and it sounds absolutely freaking fantastic. Songs by him, "One of Our Submarines is Missing," you know, uh, just the what is it? Something in the Thompson. See, I've got Thompson twins. There's a twins song on there. So Wind Power, wonderful songs, right? So anyway, if you haven't gotten into just think of "She Blinded Me by Science" or Gary Newman's "In Cars," dun 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 dun, dun, that whole dun 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 in cars dun dun pow. That whole groove, that whole sound, that 80s sound. You're gonna love Thomas Dolby because he did it better than anyone, right? So great point. Boy, Agent Pepsi has been a source of information tonight. So has Joss. Boy, and then the usual suspects are coming in with great comments too. Let me see. I'm just looking for like small paragraphs that looks like it's talking about something.
Mike Lindup has a solo album out. Changes too.
Who does?
Mike Lindup.
Mike Linda.
Lindup.
Lindup. I'm not familiar with Mike Lindup.
Changes too. Huh.
Oh, okay. Brandon, let me know. Give me some background. The name isn't coming up on me. I'm not an expert in everything. I'm an expert in a few things and kind of a jack of all trades and everything else. So it wouldn't be easy to trip me up. What I do know, I talk about, and if I don't know something, and yet I want to talk about it, I usually do research ahead. So give me a heads up on who that is. I think Gary Newman, this is from Retro Gamer. I think Gary Newman is still touring with his daughter or daughters on stage. I saw some recent photographs of him behind keyboards. So that would go with the little bit I know. Storm Cop says, watching MTV when they played that as the first video on MTV. Are you talking about "She Blinded Me by Science"? Or are you talking about one of David's songs from Let's Dance? Jared H, $10.
Came in with a super
Yeah, we discovered it at the same time.
Much, Jared.
Jared H. Jared hasn't shown up very often, has he? Or have I just not? Is he a normal commenter, babe? Or are you new, Jared? If you are new, welcome. And
they've been here, but I have
just noticed it there. Yeah. He sends us a $10 super thanks. He says, "Hey Michael, just checking in to see if you heard of the passing of Klaatu Terry Draper. Very sad, and will be missed." Yeah, Jared, we were just talking about that a couple of times in the stream earlier. One of you fine people said they recommended people watching my 40-minute video. It's on my members only. It's not a video that would get a ton of views out there, and the general audience isn't aware of it. So it's one that I put together for my members. It's a 40-minute interview that I did with Terry, with Rachel Williams. And at the end of it, the last 5 minutes, because Terry had already told me before he passed away, I could use the song and everything for in the beginning. I give the whole thing there at the end. You'll love it. And I use it as a send off to Terry. At the time of that interview 2 years ago, Terry was in great health. He was planning to start recording his next album, which just got released. He was just releasing videos on those songs, go over to Terry Draper. Okay, that's the name of his channel. He was the former um, drummer and sometimes co-writer for Klaatu. He co-wrote the song "December's Dream" off of Magenta Lane, and he co-wrote the song "Calling Occupants of Interplanetary Craft," big hit for the Carpenters, and a pretty big hit for them as well, because that was the start off. That's the first song any of us ever heard from them. And Yeah, so uh, he was releasing videos for this new album that I know for the past year he's been recording. And it was like right about 2 weeks ago, I think is the last video that it may have been three, but 2 or 3 weeks ago was the last one he uploaded.
Oh,
And I don't even know if all the cuts got uploaded from his album. I don't know if anybody's uh, taking care of his channel or anything, or if the death is too soon, that they're just not even worried about that kind of thing. But I got to know Terry a bit through correspondence beyond just that interview. Like I said earlier, I considered him a friend, and I'm going to miss him. And for the guy that was the third songwriter in that band, he's put out some stuff that's right on the level of Klaatu, right? And so, yes, we did say rest in peace, Terry Draper, drummer, songwriter, and vocalist for the prog rock pop band Klaatu, Canada's very best band. And I would probably name the Guess Who after that, and then Rush. And most of you go, you're off kilter, right? Klaatu wasn't everybody's cup of tea. I called them. I even told this to Terry. I said, I've always called you guys the Gilbert and Sullivan of rock. They have a very humorous way about approaching some very serious subjects. And plus, they wrote one of the best werewolf songs on the planet. Actually, if you listen to it, it's about a werewolf who meets a vampire, and it's called Howl at the Moon. And sometimes it's not a good thing for a vampire to date a werewolf. All right. It's called Howl at the Moon by Klaatu. It's off their Endangered Species album. And a lot of people would say that's their weakest album, mainly because what they had to do for that album was Terry is hardly even on it. That's why he's so pissed off on the album. They brought in studio drummers. I think he's on one or two cuts. D Long is hardly on it. He only got one or two songs. They focused on John Chuck's songs, and his stuff is brilliant. The album is brilliant, right? At the time it came out, none of us knew that Klaatu wasn't playing on the album or anything like that. It was hard to get any news for Klaatu, especially me on the West Coast in California. I didn't even know. I kept waiting for the album after Endangered Species, their next album. I must have spent the next 10 years looking. Good Lord, they got to put something out. And they evidently had put it out, and there was no word about Magenta Lane. And then when they did their deal with Bullseye, Terry told me it was the only reason they did their deal with Bullseye is because the guy who owned Bullseye Records wanted to start producing some of Terry's stuff. And then he also wanted to make available for the first time in years and years and years their music on, I think, even on LP at one point, but certainly on CD. And that's how I got my copy of Magenta Lane, right? So we'll miss Terry. If you guys haven't heard this band, the album, of course, that you recommend right away that'll catch you is, of course, 3:47 Eastern Standard Time. And basically, it just has three, hyphen 47 EST and a big sun on it. Famous album cover. And then the next one, a space opera. Their second album was a space opera called Hope. All right. And some great Klaatu stuff there. Sir Army Suit was their third album, where songwriting,
there was a disparity in songwriting on Hope because John Willischuk had this vision, so he wrote most of the material. Sir Army Suit has everybody in fine form, at least between Dee and John in the band, writing pretty as evenly as they ever would again. Then Dee suffering a bit through the endangered species, and Dee not having as many cuts on Magenta Lane. But Sir Army's those first three albums are my three favorite albums by them. But I love the last two as well. And Sir Army Suit, I could not believe that wasn't a success because it had almost a return to the basics of Hope and the material. It had great songs. Remember, it had Everybody Took a Holiday, you know, Perpetual Motion Machine, My Cherie, just wonderful, wonderful songs. All right, folks, let's see. It's 6:30, so I'm going to get ready to shut down. I really enjoyed doing this. I am dead tired. You know, I streamed last night, and then I followed that up with a couple hours on Royce. Then I had to review the stream on Royce and get a video out for that. I was up till about 4 and woke up around 8, quarter to 9 this morning. So I'm going to crash out and get some sleep after this. But I can tell you, it has been busy. And for this entire stream, I've enjoyed this stream. I felt like I was up against the wall in the last stream, and I could be a little more easygoing on this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You guys absolutely let people know about YouTube's best kept secret and share this video or let somebody know, hey, this guy opens his mouth, he won't stop talking, but you might learn a thing or two, or at least you can, he's open to disagreement, whatever gets your tail into the seats over here will be just fine with me, folks. All right, it's good to see folks on the Alex Trejo. Let me just see. I won't be able to read these, but I want to just let you know who stepped in tonight before I sign off. All right. We have, of course, Storm Cop, my beloved wife, Tim Henry, Chris Barlow. I'm sorry I didn't get to you, Chris. Agent Pepsi, Deuces Wild, Alex Trejo, Storm Cop. Let's see who else. Just the Facts Man, Dan the Man, Divining Dragon, aka Christian, Stormcop 55, aka James, Tim Henry, did I say you? Stephen Fox, didn't get to too much to you. You've been new. I've been seeing your comments. I am so glad to see you involved in the comments on the videos and everything, Stephen. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Jared, it was so good to get to know you a little bit. He says, yes, it is sad that he passed, but I was about 15 years old and I went to Rochester, New York for a trip and I was digging in an old record store and found Klaatu's album in a bin. This was 2017. I'm still waiting to find. I've got, which one do I have? I found, I only have one on LP and I found Hope. All right. I found Hope. So, Klaatu on vinyl. Oh, that's what I want. Caitlin, darling Caitlin, thanks for supporting me as usual. Who else do we have here? I think I mentioned Deuces Wild, Storm Cup, yep. Divining Dragon, I did. Joss, I mentioned earlier. Thank you, Joss. Excellent comments from Joss. I mentioned Stephen Fox. Let's see who else is here.
Chris Barlow.
Who?
Chris Barlow.
I think I mentioned him already, babe, but thank you. Yeah, got him.
Ben
Scheidegger, if I didn't there. Chris Barlow, there you are again. Who else, babe?
Donna the Frank.
Donna the Frank, right. Did we ever find out, are you Frank or are you Don? You got to let me know. Is it Frank or Don? Look for a response there. Maybe they checked in and checked out. People do that. I understand that. You look at your average duration on these streams, 12 minutes, 14 seconds, 18 minutes, Yeah, but I streamed for 3 hours. Yeah, well, a lot of people will take you about for 15 minutes at a time. And then they go take a break or go watch something interesting, right? but they may come back. And often people will watch me. That's how I catch up on streams a lot. If they're over, an hour, certainly I'm not going to catch the whole stream in one sitting, but I'll catch it here and there just to keep up on, content creators that I follow and everything. Let's see. I think I'm getting everybody. Of course, Royce was out there. We talked about that. Nick was out there. And Dan, which I've already mentioned. Bill Hawkins. I just want to make sure everybody gets a shout out. And if for some reason I miss you, it's just because I'm old and I don't read as well as I used to, folks. It gets down to that. Doc Insomnia, you made it, brother. Doc always comes in early, doing his homework and everything. There's about 6 or 7 of you are early birds, man. You get in here, and you start that conversation right away. Sometimes you make statements. I used Doc as a good resource in my stream last night, didn't I, Doc? Ben Scheidegger, of course, we mentioned. Retro Gamer, I mentioned you early, but I don't think in this final shout out I did. I know I got Steven. Let's just make sure. I just want to say a hey and a hi and a toodaloo to all of you. Did I miss anybody? Did I miss anybody? All right, I'm going to go down to the very bottom. Somebody can type in right now as I'm getting ready. Oh, Winslow Red Cross. Okay, have a good night, Michael, Kimberly, and chat. So Winslow is in. That's good. Michael and Kimberly, I'm Frank. Laugh out loud.
I'm Frank.
All right, Dawn
That's
of the.
awesome.
So it's not Dawn of the Frank. It's I'm Dawn of the Frank, mother. All right, Frank. I'm glad to get that all freaking cleared up finally. But let me know. Type in if I didn't get a hold of you. I'm watching it here just before I get out. You didn't mention me, Michael, right? I tried to get to all of you. And the reason I make that effort is you guys are important to me. You come here, you actually make the effort to type, you give me thumbs up. My God, we have 60 already. So we've already gotten our first bump up, another 40, and we'll get a second bump up, right? And on a Monday, especially after Sunday, on a Monday at this time, I'm surprised I got anybody coming in, but a lot of you were interested in this particular band, and especially since we didn't get a chance to tie it up neatly like I wanted to. And I'm thinking of a third stream, and I've already mentioned that. If you're wondering, you just got in, I mentioned a third stream where we would cover key members of the band and the story behind that, management and everything. Let me know if you want to see a stream down the line of that. I see Nuclear Magenta. Magenta. The only Uriah Heep song I know is Easy Living. Yeah, and Easy Living went today. If you didn't get in on there, is it went heads to head and did very well. Of course, it's got that groove, huh? Dun, 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 easy living. Oh, I love it. Yeah, and able to bounce back. Been forgiven. That whole approach to music to give it almost a gallop, huh? That song gallops. It's got a lot of energy, drive, a lot of acoustic work there in the background, providing that energy, giving it an almost quiet energy, then with the keyboards right in your face kind of thing, right? Love that song. Absolutely. Time to rock and roll, says Chris Barlow. Doc Insomnia Easy Living is one of the best by far. Gypsy, Mr. Majestic, Pacific Coast Highway, Lady in Black, all great, great songs. Thank you, Agent Pepsi. I appreciate it, darling. Bill Hawkins, good night, all. Now I'm going to go listen to Live Cream. Bill can't get it out of his system, huh? All right, folks, I think I got to all of you. I can't tell you how important you are. And I'm going to collapse for a day now, regroup, get myself hydrated, get some chores done that have been waylaid by doing these two streams back to back. And once again, I want to thank you for viewing my videos, whether it's the streams or my regular videos, whether you catch them later or live. I also want to thank you for all your wonderful thumbs up. And for those of you who can, and no pressure, folks, never any pressure, but for those of you who can, go ahead and support the channel financially. You are
all, I've said it before, rock stars in my eyes. All right, I'm Michael Noland. This is the bottom line. And when I do this live, it's called the Tribal Forum. I become your humble tribal chieftain. I was voted that by you folks. I never even thought of using that moniker. And you guys kept, hey, Tribe Master. I call myself Tribal Chieftain just now. It's Tribe Master. I got to get used to saying that, right? And so I just took on the mantle. None of you seem to have too much of a problem with it. We're just having fun, right? Just have fun. Kind of get into the kind of the spirit of the whole thing. And here on the tribal forum, all of you have a vote. Here where we is, I merely proceed over the subject at hand. And then we discuss it. I got to a lot more comments than I did last night. I'm happy about that, right? And I want to thank each and every one of you for participating in any way, whether you just watched this thing, gave me a thumbs up, did a super thanks, or absolutely got in to the comments here. Now I'll just give you the top 10 who, before I sign off, who were the top 10 leaderboard tonight. That means the people who gave the most comments and gave the most input. At number 10, James Redding. Congratulations, James. Number 9, Dan the Man, just the facts man. Number 8, nudging Dan out. Dan's not going to be happy, Royce. Number 8, Royce in the house. Donna the Frank kicked both of your asses, guys. Donna the Frank, man, took you out. And he's number 7 with Bill Hawkins at number 6. Beast LVX, number 5. Ben Scheidecker, number 4. I think I called you Ben, what, Schilling or something dumb last night. Sorry about that, Ben. They don't have your full name here. Number 3, Divining Dragon, Christian himself. Number 2, Tim. Is it Henley? I'm trying to remember. It's just got your name here. Go to his channel. I suggested that earlier. He's just starting a channel. Everybody needs a boost, folks, right? So go on over there. Make sure that you give him a thumbs up and sub to his channel. He's just getting started. I've been there, and a lot of you have been out there. So take a look at Tim's channel, and he was the second most engaged person in the show tonight with number 1. It just says brah. I've got to look up. Let's see. Number 1 is where's number 1? It just has the first 3 letters. What's that, babe?
I'm looking. Are you?
Yeah, you're looking. I'm looking too. Maybe he was number 1 and has left the chat for a while. We'll find you. It'll be here. Number 3, number 2, number 2,
I
number.
know, it's hard to see it.
Oh my goodness. He may have left already.
He might have, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like Brad. Was it Brad? I'm trying to remember. But congratulations to those. You guys can find it over there. I wish I could pick up on it, but it only gives you partial information here. So anyway, and for those of you who are not aware of what all this is you get points for participating. I never set this up. This is just a feature that YouTube is being offered. They tell me I can take it off, but I decided I'm going to go with it for a while because what that leaderboard is doing is what I've been doing the whole time on this channel. So it goes with the spirit of the channel. It encourages everybody to have something to say. And we've been hitting records as far as how many chats are happening in our live streams. And my videos have always done, no matter how many views they get, I always get tons of chats. And I spend at least an hour, sometimes 2, trying to respond to all you guys.
Wild said he's number 1, hun.
Deuce is wild. Okay, good.
Number 1.
All right. Why is it coming off as bra, something like
I
that?
don't understand why he doesn't have it.
Yeah. Let me check it again. Yeah. But 225 points, you'd have to be as active as you've been tonight. Certainly doesn't surprise me. But anyway, we're just having fun with it, right? And it develops a sense of community, which is what I've been trying to do anyway. I'm just the big mouth that starts
what we're talking about. And then I want to hear from you folks. You don't have to agree with me. I'm just not shy about giving you my opinion. And then I sit back and I go, all right, now that's how I think. Now teach me something, right? That's that's how you get along in life. Be willing to learn. Life is school. You never graduate. Or if you do, or you drop out, well, not great things happen, folks. All right, I love each and every one of you. I'll see you. Let's see, I've got to do a regular video and before I stream next time. I don't know if I'll be streaming before Sunday.
It says Divining Dragon is number one, but
Divining Dragon.
it does right here with the
Oh
crown.
yeah, yeah. Well, he slipped. Yeah, he just took over. He probably they were probably yeah, because one had 225 and they both have 225.
Okay.
So I don't know what the makeup was for that, but it looks like actually that they're just giving it to him. Maybe he has one more comment or anything. But anyway, those are the top 10: Tim, Deuce, and Christian. All right, it's been fun, folks. I'm Michael Noland. This is the bottom line. Oh my goodness gracious! And just before I could get out of here, Nedhead with the power of two, saving the stream at the last second. And I've said it before, Nedhead, he says, having fun while we commune. Isn't that the truth, Nedhead? Really? That's the way I feel about it. Honest to God. Just grooving, just grooving and having a chance to talk with each other, right? And kind of cutting our opinions on each other without getting our panties in a twist. I've said it many times. Because a lot of people are just,
really nice.
Never question the hive mind. $2, power of the two. Thank you so much. All right, folks, I'll see you on my next stream for my next tribal forum, or I will see you on my next regular video. It's kind of tough to know which is one. Probably my next regular video.
You'll see him on Royce's video tomorrow. His interview.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and do take a look at Royce's interview. I think he was going to upload that, and it may be a tribal membership video. I'm not sure. I didn't see anything from Royce, but I didn't get to so many of you. Just the Facts Man said, thanks, Michael and Kimberly. Thank you, mates, says Nedhead. Blessings all. And this is what I read all the time. Rock on, Nedhead. Thank you so very much for your support, Nedhead. This is coming from other people in the chat. You guys are absolutely awesome. Now I'm going to quit talking. All right. Michael Noland, the bottom line. This is the Tribal Forum, and I'll see you on my next live stream or video. Night, folks.